We are tonight's entertainment.
You can't handle the truth.
The fire rises.
Pizza time.
You're a wizard, Harry.
So it begins.
You know how much I sacrifice?
You think that's air you're breathing?
Groovy.
I don't have friends. I got family.
We are Sex People! 1, 2, 3, 4!
Craft Services.
Hi, Parth.
Hey, Trent.
You're looking well.
You're looking mighty close to me.
Closer than ever.
Well, I don't know that that's true.
There, I just touched you.
That's true.
With my finger.
Wow.
I touched your kneecap, just to clarify.
Trent and I are a rarity in-person recording.
Yes, I'm borrowing stuff from you, and rather than schedule a recording time, you were just like, hey, big fella, why not let's hop into your basement with a few mics, a few laptops. Here we are.
It's true.
But this is fun. We haven't done when, it's been a while. I mean, it's not worth trying to figure out when the last time was.
Yeah, I don't really remember.
Or care, but
Yeah.
What have you been eating?
The last thing I made was egg burji, which is like, I've spoken about this before, but it's basically scrambled eggs, but with like Indian spices thrown in there. And I made some for Viraj, my brother, today, friend of the show.
Yeah,
Scott
yeah.
Pilgrim discussion.
Oh, I remember.
And guess what he just did today? His SATs.
Yes, you were speaking last night about how you would have to drop him off at 7 a.m.
Yeah, I ended up not having to. My mom dropped him off, but I still woke up to be like, good luck, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're a nice person.
I try from time to time.
So is he returned? It's noon. No,
He is. No, he
Yeah?
got. Yeah, it started at like.
Did he take the
8:30.
essay portion?
They've abolished the essay portion.
What did I what did I waste my time for?
Why did you censor yourself?
No, there's no. What did I fucking waste my time for? I mean, even back then, I knew I was wasting my time writing the essay portion. Did you do that?
I did do the essay portion.
I did it like twice, and I never, I think I'm an okay writer, and I never did good on that at all.
We don't need to talk about our own SAT scores, but Raj said the test went pretty well for him.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
My relationship with the SAT was every time I thought I did bad, I did good, and every time I thought I did good, I did bad. So, Viraj, if this is any indication,
You're fucked up, bro.
You're fucked up, bro.
Trent, what did you have to eat most recently?
I just moved back to my parents' house.
Dang!
But my mom made me crepes this morning, which
Yum,
was
yum in
pretty
your tum-tum.
lovely. And she clarified the fact. She was like, I'm making crepes only because you just moved back. So,
Oh, wow.
like, don't think that this is like
An
an
everyday
everyday
occasion.
thing. Like,
Yeah.
this is basically, if you don't say yes to these crepes aren't being offered to you again.
Right.
Which is fully understandable. But I had a few crepes and a little sips of coffee and a little sip of smoothie. And here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And yesterday we were together as well, shooting a little short that
A little thingamabobber.
Yeah, that we won't name because it's not very good,
Sure.
right? I mean, that's safe to say.
Yeah, I guess so. No, yeah.
Trent, do you just feel like it's time to cue the intro?
Yeah, now that we talked about what we were involved in, that just wasn't very good.
It's not very good.
Yeah, let's
It
cue the
was
intro.
bad to the point where I was doing sound and had to keep my laughter in.
And you were responding to my texts.
That is true. That is a little crazy.
And
to
holding
think.
up the boom pole with the other arm. And, reading my texts and sneering.
It was fucking horrible. What can I say?
Cool. As long as we don't name any of the involved parties.
As long as you don't mention his name, we'll be fine.
You have to bleep that part.
Why? It's fine.
Parth, when did you become this person?
Cue the intro.
Wait.
I'm gonna bleep. Don't worry.
Okay. Welcome back to Craft Services, where we talk about the movies.
and
Each week we talk
about a film, and hopefully have a crew member of that film to talk with us about.
I thought it would be excruciating to go the whole time. Each week we talk about a film and hopefully have a crew member of that film that'll talk with us about their experience working on the picture. Last week we had cinematographer Eric Yue of
I saw the TV
of
glow.
Jane Shumbrown's I Saw the TV Glow, which, Parth, I just listened back to part 1 of this interview, and the different variations of how we pronounce I see the TV glow, I saw a TV glow, that both of us did just like slightly mispronunciations.
Sure.
Like 3 or 4 different ways throughout the interview.
That's cool, bro. It's not like we were talking to the cinematographer or someone important like that.
Exactly. And that brings us to the fact that if you thought last week's conversation ended rather abruptly,
Right.
there's a reason for it.
It's because we're recording the intro for part 2, but you're about to listen to part 2 of this interview, which was, shall I say, pretty fucking great.
Yeah. I'd say there's a general, not to shit on any part 1 fans, but I'd say as a general trend, things start to loosen up by the end.
Yeah, usually by a part 2 or part 3 of an interview of ours, it's like the guest knows we're not trying to fuck them, like they know that we just want to like get some cool information out of them.
And once the guest knows that we're not trying to fuck them and that we're just out for some cool information, we really hit our stride.
We sure do.
And so with that being said, I don't think we should hold off any longer.
Nah.
There's like a lot of anticipation have been built up, a lot of talk about this episode.
There's been talk about this
A
episode?
lot of just talk in the streets.
Wow.
And I don't want to hold off any longer.
Okay. Cue the interview. You talked a little bit about how like intensely the movie was shot listed and storyboarded and like how planned out it was. Was there any scene or sequence that, because of logistical problems or budgetary or whatever, like you had to rethink to be different?
The main sequence that was the hardest to do was the planetarium sequence. That one was hard to imagine what a planetarium looks like, and like there's so many variables. Like we didn't know the projection, like do we have to make original projections for this? And it's such a long scene. It's like, I think it was like 5 or 6 pages or something like that worth of one monologue. And, we just didn't know, like, is Maddie just standing there? And we kind of skipped over a lot of it when we were shot listing that. And Jane had a reference that I read an interview and I was like, oh yeah, we did do this. We looked at like music videos, and there's this Jamiroquai video where I think it's Jonathan Glazer who did it. And it's like this sort of moving set, and like, does Maddie float? That was like one early idea. And we wanted to move the camera, almost putting Maddie on a dot, like a Lazy Susan or something, and like attaching the camera so that we just all of a sudden, like, everything around was rotating, but there wasn't enough like depth to get that. So there's another film that Jane looked at, which again I'm forgetting the title of, but there's a monologue, and it was just a projector on the person's having this monologue, but it was like, is that like, what's different about it? And so when we finally got there and we had the planetarium set up, that morning we really just rehearsed with Emma Portner, who plays Mr. Melancholy, and also like is an amazing dancer, and was not working that day but acted as like a movement director. And Bridget, who plays Maddie, worked with Jane and everyone to kind of figure out what the blocking would be. And I think we landed upon like Jane's like, maybe Maddie crawls on the floor. How do we get it to crawl? Like, does she crawl and like maybe lies down? And then we kind of figured out what felt right, and we broke up the monologue into like maybe 4 different sections. And then I'd come and watch, and we'd do an iPhone version of it. And then we'd take a look at it. And then, by the time we got into the set and everything was lit, we knew that this was gonna be like, okay, there's gonna be like 7 shots here, and it just became easier to piece together. But that was something that was the hardest thing to figure out, because it wasn't the most straightforward. And for me, it was just a lot of variables. Like we ended up seeing the guy who owns the projector, like it's an actual planetarium guy who does this for schools, and like going through all the different options, it was like, oh, this is amazing. Like we actually don't have to make anything. And it became a lot more simple. Holding on this profile of Maddie for like 3 or 4 minutes, 5 minutes, like felt right. I think Jane originally was like, what if this whole thing was like 1 shot? Like, I was like, it's kind of long. And it also like,
director
hard to
move.
Yeah, it's hard to like edit that. And so we kind of let that evolve. And yeah, that one was hard too, because the day I just needed a really high powered projector, and it wasn't the true planetarium projector, which usually fills the entire, it's like a 360 lens, but it wasn't going to give me enough light. So we had to get like a cinema projector, and the generator outside blew like, so we did this half power, and we were like behind by like 2 hours. So we just really had to wait to get this thing up, because it's such a pivotal scene in the film. Like, I think if it didn't have a striking look to it, like it wouldn't land in this way, because it's her kind of spelling out a thesis of the film, in a lot of ways.
2 moments that I feel like sort of highlight, like the integration of like special effects and practical, is like when Owen puts his head in the TV, and like when he's like opening up his chest at the end. So both of those moments just made me want to ask you about how you shoot those sorts of sequences that will have sort of heavy special effects added later.
The scene with the TV was pretty practical, I'd say. Like everything we had, Brendan Toner Connolly, the production designer, had a TV that was hollowed out and kind of gutted, and then I'd put my own lights inside the TV, and so Justice, who plays Owen, could like do that, and I put the lights on like a crazy flicker setting, and then the special effects person would rig the TV with a bit of fog that would kind of come out from the TV. And I think the added effect is like a bit of a shake to the shot, and also I think there's some streaking that gets pulled from the practical lights. So all that was majority done in camera, and then the chest opening. To answer your question about how it's a lot of Zoom calls with the VFX supervisor, but we spent a bit of time figuring out what the best way to do this was, because I think any VFX supervisor will tell you that it's best to do everything practically first, because it gives you a ground to stand on. And so a lot of it became, do we rig this chest thing with lights inside it? And these are big decisions that like a lot of them kind of rests on me in a lot of ways. And because the build for these prosthetics, it's like, these are like $10,000, $20,000 worth of prosthetics that like they need to be like done, and it doesn't you can't just like do it quickly. So it's because it's a mold, and they're putting hairs on it, and they're mixing it, and so all these things become really big factors. And I think ultimately we all landed on the easiest thing, is to just not have any lights inside of it. And how I did it was having a locked off shot, doing one take where Owen's doing the opening and the performance without any lights or any reference light. And that would kind of be the main performance that everything would be tied to. And then I'd set up a reference light kind of right in front of the chest, and then have Justice do one performance with the light right in front, knowing that like, maybe they would use that take, maybe not. And then the next one was without Justice, and it's just the light there, so that you have kind of everything like with the light doing what it does. And then one where we remove the light and it's just an empty shot. And then I think I did another one where I added more lights throughout, so there's more atmosphere. And so you give the VFX team 5 layers to work with, so they can roto out stuff and blend stuff together and kind of give them that option to, I'm like over delivering all the things that need to, just because I know, like I have like a bit of a Photoshop background too, so I just know like what they need. And I would also say that there's 2 different shots. There's one where Owen's cutting his own chest open, and that's a separate one than, it's a separate build than the one that's in the mirror. And that one was an interesting one that Izzy, the special effects makeup artist who did that, they made and a whole team as well, they made a mold of Justice's chest and made I believe it's like kind of a carbon fiber, but not a carbon fiber, fiberglass like mold underneath, and then they built the latex over that like chest shield so that Justice could like dig into it. And that was like, you have 3 of those, and then you have the other one that is just kind of laying on top of Justice's actual body for the actual opening too. So having those things meticulously planned out, I think, was helpful, and it's not like guesswork.
And I don't know if we touched on this already, but just if you could talk about what lenses you used throughout the movie.
Yeah, the primary lenses that we used were master primes, which is funny because it's a set of lenses that I've never, I'm like a vintage glass person, and I've always gravitated away from those lenses. But over the years, sort of knowing that on film, it actually provides a lot of clarity, even when it's grainy. And we knew the film needed to be a lot of wide angle lenses. So master primes have like, I think it's like the widest might be a 12 millimeter, or no, maybe even a 10, I believe, up until it just has every single range of lens that opens up to a 1.3. And part of me was like, I just don't want to worry about the performance of these. I don't want to like think about it. I just want it to be really like any lens we can use, it's going to perform really well. And especially at night with the darkness and stuff. So it was a long, like, I was like, what do I use? And I just was like, we're going to use that. And for certain sections, I used the Tribe 7 lenses, which are these specialty lenses that really flare. And I think I used an uncoated Cooke S4 for one shot. And those are mainly for the panic, like it's more towards the end of the film when Owen's having a panic attack. I want the flares to really like hit the lens and kind of do like a bit more like this feeling that there's like light in your eye and you just can't see. But yeah, the main lenses were master primes. And for the first half of the film, I used like a Pro Mist for the 90s section and pushed it. And then towards the end, I took out the Pro Mist as well, just to give it just this hardness, this like cold. It's not as, the highlights don't bloom as much. And I did something similar on 1001, which was my second feature, to like delineate time periods and also just the emotional quality of certain lenses and what they do. I think I have a really subconscious effect. I think, especially with filtration too.
Watching the movie back, is there a moment or a scene or that you're uniquely proud of, or is there like a single lesson that an important lesson you learned taking away from the movie that you will carry with you from now on?
It's funny, when I watch the film, there's several moments that I'm like super proud of, and they're not flashy at all. There's this shot of Owen walking, and then there's a balloon, and it's kind of a chapter. That was totally Jane's idea. When we're setting up for something, Jane's like, this room is amazing. Can we shoot in this room? And I think we're already kind of behind, but I was like, yes, like, let's do it. And like quickly, like, go get a light, shoot it through the thing, like, and get this weird shot that with this balloon. And I think a lot of the film was embracing that, like, when we're dialed in that much, Jane doesn't need to tell me why. I'm like, of course, obviously, like that's gonna totally work. And there's that whole sequence where it's like this flickering light in the empty sort of fun center where everything's deflated, and there's a flickering light, and then it cuts to Owen walking. That first shot, we kept on being like, oh my God, this isn't a pitch-a-pong shot. Like, we're like, this is like, it's like a dead kind of frame, but there's something sort of ghostly about it. There's like a apparition in the room. And then from that shot to the balloon shot, and then it hard cuts to Owen going through the drive-through. And for me, the way that it looks, it's like, it almost looks like steel blue, like Terminator 2, or like the way that Owen's face looks like. And then he's trying to order the food, and it talks over him. And I feel like there's something where you really feel how different his life is now in that transition of how cool, like how brutal. It just feels really brutal, that shot. When I see it, it's just like depressing when I see it. And I think that was, I don't know why that shot specifically feels good. And then the planetarium scene, when Maddie is crawling on the floor, and Maddie's face in that scene, for me, it's like, I was like, oh my God, like Callie, the first AC landed, the focus, it's perfect, and the performance, and just the whole sequence, how that looks is just something that I've never done before. It feels like bold in this way, but heightened, and the way that her face looks when it's that close and you're at minimum focus, and it's just everything's pouring out of Maddie. And the line, like, think about like season 6 and you're in it. And I don't know, it gives me goosebumps thinking about that. Those two things I think are my favorites. And then the thing that I learned, I mean, I think it's just, I would say, like, outside of even just the film and the product of it, is working with crew. I think I really felt like this one was like, I really need to be someone who is corralling the team to like get through week 3. After week 3, everyone's dead. It's summer. It's hot. It's a tier 1 film. No one's getting paid that much. You're in Jersey. Like, the crafty starts to get really bad at week 2. It's like Oreos, but not like on brand. Or it's like there's no healthy food or anything like that. And I remember Taylor, the line producer, coming up to me, and I was like, your team, the morale, you gotta. And I was like, do I have to? Like, it's this thing where I think no one realizes that's part of the job too. I never thought it was part of the job, but it's part of the job. It's like you're having the product being good is also a direct result of, like, I think, I mean, maybe that's not true. There's probably miserable films that look amazing, but I think in terms of like an overall kind of ecosystem of how you're going to sustain your career and how you're going to, it's all people-based, it's team-based. So having consistency throughout the rest of the films that you want to make, having a good graces with all the people that you feel that they're being cared about is really important, or else, they're not going to have a good experience on it. And so, like, that was probably one of the biggest things I took away from it. On the crew end was me being like, let's do a coffee. Or I was going to Whole Foods every morning, picking up kombuchas and like blue bottle coffee. You know, just like little things like that I think are really good. And, you know, I am the cinematographer. It's like, it's just, you know, I can do that and it means something. So that's like one thing. And also I think my relationship with Jane, having that time together was really special. And I think we also became, I think, quite good friends, and it had a shorthand. We also did a music video together like a few months afterwards as well. And we just developed this way of working and really having that time and being able to make something that felt very like friends making a film together. It's an A24 film. Like, it's possible. It's totally possible. And it's just a matter of like how you set the stage for that kind of production, because I think Jane's very selective too about like what kind of attitude they want on the set. And I don't think they want like anyone who's just going to be, you know, insensitive. I don't think anyone would, but I think really Jane put a priority about like as many non-binary crew or and just in general people who are just like not aggro, and it changed it. And I think everyone is also in the same age range too. I think that there wasn't anyone like older, like I don't think anyone was even 40 yet on the shoot, except for maybe the Teamsters and stuff like that. But it was a pretty young set, and I think that's why it felt very special, at least for me. I don't know how it felt for everyone else, but yeah, those are the key takeaways. I think like trusting Jane in the vision too as well. Jane has such a specific way of thinking about the film and thinking about films in general. And like I said, like shooting is like an act. Like I have to say yes, and if I fight, I'm adding to things. I'm adding my own tastes. And Jane's very collaborative with like, if there's a better idea, we'll do that. And trusting that process, and also like being in someone's ring where like I know and I can defend the film even when it gets tough on set. I know why we're making it. I know why it needs to get made, because I also know where it comes from for Jane. And having that level of conversation where it's like personal too, like why do you need to make this movie? And if I don't know, then I can't defend it. So I knew, I was like, this is like something that's incredibly personal to you, but also universal enough where I was adding into like our first conversations. I was like, this speaks to me because of X, Y, and Z, like my own, like from a racial perspective, right? Like from all these different ideologies that one has to live within, and sort of contort yourself to an ideology, feeling trapped by your environment, all these different things.
Just sort of, I guess, moving away from TV glow talk, sort of starting to wrap up. Are you working on anything that you could talk about now, post TV glow? Yeah,
I am finishing a film I did last year. We're coloring it in a few weeks. It's called Atropia, and we're coloring it. And I'm in prep on another movie that shoots in September. I know Jane has a few ideas that we're just very early on. I think we're still in the middle of TV glow world. And yeah, there's just some exciting stuff that I'm kind of prepping for.
Trent, you want to ask the big kahuna?
The big kahuna final question, don't be intimidated, is what is the last great film you watched? And it can't just be good, it has to be great. And it can be a rewatch or a new release.
Yeah, that's the hardest question of all, man. Jesus, like
that's what they all say.
As a joke, I'll give you my joke answer first, just because Jane and I have an inside joke where on TV Glow, I'd always say like, this is like Goodfellas. And it was like every single shot would be like, it's like that Goodfellas shot. Cause like, as a Goodfellas does everything. It's like, oh yeah, when Ray Liotta speaks to the camera, right? It's like good. The last great film that I watched. Can I give a list, or does it have to be one?
Yeah, you can give a list.
No,
Can you just talk
give
about
me a
the
short
movies I
list.
watched recently?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I rewatched Hiroshima Mon Amour recently, and like, holy shit, it's like that film did it before everyone else. I watched that film in the bar scene, and I look at TV Glow, and it's like there's an unconscious relationship between the coverage of that, and I like don't even remember that movie until I rewatched. I was like, holy shit, there's like the specificity of the camera work, the way it uses montage and sound and memory and all these different things. Like, it's hypnotic, and you look at that, you look at In the Mood for Love, and you're like, duh, like this is where it comes from. And that was like a recent rediscovery for me. It was like Hiroshima Mon Amour is like such a seminal work. And then I watched Earrings of Madame de. This is Max Ophuls' film, where Paul Thomas Anderson got a lot of the camera grammar from this film. And can't say that I like thought it was amazing, but in terms of like on a technical level, for me, like it's just quite amazing that someone's doing this in like 1949, 1950, I don't even know, but how expressive the camera work is in that film, the lighting. It's just like the way of telling a story is really interesting. I rewatched Amour by Michael Haneke. So depressing. But also I saw it at New York Film Festival, like in theaters like 13 years ago or whenever it came out, and it's changed as I got older. The meaning of love and like care, as I get older, when these things change over time. I find that really fascinating about films, like stuff that I was like, I don't get it, or it's like it's just everything changes over time, and that was a film that I think I appreciated more now. What other films have I watched lately? I'm only going to talk about the ones that I liked. I'm going to get shit talk this on this. There's a record of this.
Once we go off air, you can feel free to bash anything you want.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my answer still, I think, is Hiroshima Mon Amour is like, I think, incredible. Really, really amazing. I think anyone who hasn't seen it, like, watch it, and then you'll see where everyone gets so much stuff from. But it's like so boring. Come on, like I'm just like the like French New Wave. Like, come on. A recent film. I saw Challengers. I saw Civil War. We'll go off air for those. But yeah, I think that's my answer. There you go. Is and this other movie called I Saw the TV. It's like seminal work.
All purely original thought, as we established.
Yeah, there's no before, there's no after.
Thank you so much to our guest, Eric Yue, cinematographer for the film I Saw the TV Glow. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
What an interview.
Yeah, that was fun. It's over now.
It is over now. Thank you so much to Eric Yue for talking with us about I Saw the TV Glow, a movie we both really liked, and a movie that Trent's mother watched.
Yeah, my mom last night, finally, after probably 3 or 4 text recommendations, she went to the movie theater I worked at in high school and I Saw the TV Glow, and she was like, it was good. Pretty weird.
Yeah, that's a classic mom response.
She was like, the moon guy reminded me of...
Moon guy?
You know, like the Moon and Mr. Moon.
Oh yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Nubius or something. But the evil moon guy, she was like, he reminds me of the guy from the moon from A Trip to the Moon.
Wow.
And then she sent like the Wikipedia page of like A Trip to the Moon, and I was like, yeah, I am familiar. But
hey, if Trent's mom liked the movie, you will too. And I in a real way watched this movie in theaters and really, really enjoyed it. And I think anyone, I mean, if you're listening to this interview, it's chock full of spoilers. So I can't imagine you've not seen it. But
since we don't do discussions anymore, I guess I'll include now. My mom told me an anecdote from her seeing the movie, and it's that it was just her and then like 6 teenage girls in the movie theater. And given the movie choice, I would bet they're more like taking shelter, seeing a movie, rather than like they're wanted to see this.
They're
movie.
Interested in Jane Shunbrun's new masterwork.
Yeah. And so they were like really talking a lot through the first few minutes, and then my mom got up and she went over to her. My mom's a teacher, and so is your mom, so I guess they have this in them. And she went, "Ladies, this isn't your fucking living room.
Oh wow,
cut it out!" And she said there was not a peep.
That's awesome
for the rest of the movie.
That's awesome. I wish I had that in me, because I get so annoyed by people using their phones and people talking and whatever in movie theaters. But I never actually have the guts to do anything beyond, like, if they're behind me doing a little...
A little over the shoulder.
Yeah, I just made a little look to Trent.
Well, we once seeing Evil Dead Rise.
Like, oh, yeah, well, that was, like, the
being
most...
really rude.
I went, shh. Like, I shushed them.
And then I think I did a secondary shush.
I think you said shut up.
Yeah.
Or something. Like it, but that truly might be like the worst experience I had, where like a group of teens were just so awful. The only other experience I've had that's been like that bad or worse was when I went to see Meg 2: The Trench, and there was the family behind me gave their kid an iPad. And not only was the iPad on, the audio was on. And when they took the iPad away, the kid would start talking and crying and whatever. They'd be so loud that it seemed like the easier solution was to just give the kid the iPad.
With
and then the woman behind me and to my left went and complained, and a theater attendant came, and they stopped it for a second, and then the kid started kicking my seat. And like moving all around behind me, and then just ended up being back on the iPad. And I was like, I'll never forgive this child for not allowing me to see Meg 2: The Trench the way it was meant to be seen.
When friend of the show, Jordan Sycophus, sees behavior like this, she would often whisper to me, "Free birth control," as in this is a good discouragement from having children. You telling me that I told someone to shut up during Evil Dead Rise reminds me of the fact that I have to be more careful of who I tell to shut up, because I don't know if I told you this, but I was biking through the city the other day, and someone who cut me off, I called them stupid, and then they chased me down on their scooter and tried to push me off my bike, and then confronted me until I apologized.
Jesus Christ.
And I also almost... I don't know if you were there, but outside a bowling alley, like someone like tried to fight me, and I'm like the least confrontational person, but I just feel like
you genuinely might be the least confrontational person I know.
But I think I just say stupid stuff that like other people think is.
You do say a lot of stupid. I mean, we have a whole podcast dedicated to it.
But it was because earlier while riding my bike, I called someone stupid, but they were on foot, so they didn't have the ability to chase me down, and then my friend pointed out the flaw in my plan is that the person I insulted was faster than me.
Right.
Yeah, I saw Garfield the other day. There was a baby crying, and then I saw I explained this to my mom, but...
Well, hold on. You didn't just see Garfield. You saw Garfield while I filmed my movie at your house.
And I saw Garfield in 3D.
Yeah, and then you came home and said, Parth, there's a Top Gun joke in Garfield that would literally make you die.
And Parth was like so scrambled after like an 8-hour shoot day that he did not even crack a smile. Even though there's a
Not much of my life to smile about, bro.
even though there's a joke in Top Gun, or there's a Top Gun joke in Garfield that would actually make Parth fucking die. But
Right.
he's not gonna see it. But yeah, there was a baby crying, and then actually, tried to get a free ticket. I tried to go
I
out,
remember this,
and
yeah.
I tried to be like, "This sucks. Can I have a free ticket?" And they were like, "Well, you have to. We can give you a free ticket, but you have to leave right now." And I was like, "Well, I don't want to leave right now. Like, I want to see the rest of Garfield through, despite how much this sucks, because I'm not gonna make you evict this family.
Right, yeah.
Like, there's fucking like 6 of them." And the baby's crying, and then the kids are like crawling up and down the stairs. It was no good, but I sat through the rest of Garfield and was not compensated for my time.
I'm sorry, Trent.
So you can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you podcast. I pray for anyone who's listened to this point in the episode.
Yeah, and you can also check us out on our social media on Instagram and Twitter. And also, Trent, unlike almost all of our recent episodes, we can actually tease what's coming out next week.
Yeah, no, that I thought about that. That's nice.
Next week, we've got cinematographer Matthew Temple talking about his work on Late Night with the Devil.
Yeah, that was a fun little silly little interview.
One could say it was incredibly informative.
Yeah, and not just fun and silly, but
And also
incredibly
a
informative.
two-parter?
Yeah, as per usual.
Yeah, it's a two-parter. And then after that, we've got an interesting movie planned.
Honestly, like sort of a left field
A
thing
curveball, given what we usually do and the like run of movies we've done so far, like recently, because it's going to be Late Night with the Devil. Before that is TV Globe. Before that is Civil War, which is just so, and like what's scheduled after that is so not any of those movies.
Hey, we have done a movie by the same company before. It was incredible.
Yes, yeah. Oh, was it? Was it incredible?
It was.
Wow. Well, I hope that
Like
doesn't
The Incredibles.
Yeah. You ever seen Inside Out, bro?
I actually have not. That's part of the problem.
All right. Well, anyways, you can see us next week or listen to us next
I hope
week.
the interview happens now.
Yeah, so do I. You can check us out next week, and we'll
and
have
the week after.
Yeah,
and
we're
the
here
week
every Sunday,
after.
guys. We'll have cinematographer Matthew Temple, part 1 out next week. And Trent, any parting words?
Hasta la vista, baby. Was that a Terminator sound?
Yeah, it was a gunshot sound because he shoots the guy.
Oh no, no.
Hasta la vista, baby.
No, doesn't he say that in Terminator 2 when he's like being nice to John Connor? Or maybe
Yeah, no, he does. But then, well, no, John Connor teaches him like, he's like, yeah, you know, man, like hasta la vista. And then he uses it against the T-1000.
Well, I forgot about like how kind of sort of annoying John Connor is in Terminator 2.
That guy's chasing us, man. What? Come on, man. They got my parents.
Do you know like his friend with the red hair?
I don't know him, but yeah, I'm aware of him. Yeah.
That's like us when we hang out. Like,
What?
Hacking the ATM machine.
Yeah, sure. We are just a bunch of punks at the end of the day.
Okay,
Bye, guys. Bye.